craziest part is it will have a Black American Christian looking you in your face, basically saying that the things that led to him being Christian, chattel slavery, were somehow a part of a divine plan for his lineage. That is a sickness beyond, that is an unspeakable sickness that's going on in your brain. If you think, and I've had Christians say that, I'm like, well, you know, we wouldn't necessarily be Christian if it wasn't for slavery, you know what I mean? And our ancestors getting pillaged and the forced adoption of this spirituality.
So every time people be like, oh, make podcast equipment more expensive, I be like, yo, these people be hating. But I'm tending to agree more. So let me just do a rapid fire and debunk, you know, what this guy was saying. First and foremost, chattel or transatlantic slavery is not what made Black people Christian. There was Christians in East and West Africa that was already Christian before the transatlantic slave trade happened. So your whole argument falls completely because your premises is just wrong. Here's what we know from factual history. Number one, there was Christians in Africa before transatlantic slave trade. Number two, there was Christians that was sent over to America as slaves. So they already had a perception and understanding of what Christianity was, so that they can already see the hypocrisy from white people that was claiming to be Christians. And then number three, when slaves were able to read, they were also able to see the hypocrisy between what the Bible is saying and what these white Christians are practicing. Obviously, colonialism played a part in how fast Christianity spread, but you're not going to sit here and say that God had a divine plan to make Black people Christians by enslaving them. That's just not true. But to address God using suffering for a divine plan, that's a spiritual matter that you just won't understand. Because if I tell you that there's a suffering for me to endure, for me to make it to the NFL, waking up early, putting my body through all of this stress, facing injuries so that I can make it to the NFL, something like that, you'll understand. But if I give you a testimony on how, you know, I had cancer, and let's just say I didn't, you know, survive cancer, right? But in my suffering, I was able to lead many of people through Christ because they seen the way that I carried it, the way that I still continued to praise God, and the works that he was able to do through me, you wouldn't understand it. So all in all, when it comes to people understanding suffering and God using suffering for a greater purpose, it makes absolutely no sense for a Christian to get into that because you just won't understand.